Nestled in the heart of Victoria, the Dandenong Ranges offers a mix of charming mountain villages, tree-towering forests, and stunning walking trails, all just 1 hour from Melbourne. Join us as we spend a day exploring this peaceful escape. We began our drive from Melbourne early in the morning, and getting to the Dandenong Ranges is pretty straightforward. While there are public transport options that can take you here, getting between the different towns and attractions can be difficult. So to really see it all, the best option is definitely to drive. There are several towns scattered throughout the Dandenong Ranges, with the mountain range stretching for around 50 kilometres. Out of all the towns we explored, our favourite was Sassafras. It may not be the biggest town in the mountains, but it's definitely the most scenic, perfectly capturing that classic Australian mountain town vibe. The town centre is situated along one main road. It's lined with boutique and antique stores, each offering its own unique charm and character. There are also plenty of cafés, which are perfect for a morning breakfast and coffee before heading out onto the trails. The best part of Sassafras is that nearly all of the stores are locally and independently operated, so you won't find any big international chains here. That's what makes the town feel so unique, authentic, and full of character. Some of our favourite stores that we came across during the day were Geppetto's Workshop, which offers a range of handmade items. The local bookstore was also great. It's called Through the Looking Glass, and Smiths and Bits, which was a store filled with unique handmade outdoor and garden goods. Now, one thing to note is that because of the mountain location and the boutique nature of the cafes and stores, prices for meals and items are generally a little higher than what you'd normally find in the city. Sassafras is especially popular during autumn, when the streets and forests turn shades of red, orange and gold. And because of the higher elevation, temperatures here are usually cooler than in Melbourne, even during summer. After spending a couple of hours exploring Sassafras, we headed off to explore some of the parks and gardens throughout the Dandenong Ranges. Out of all the places we saw, our favourite was Alfred Nicholas Memorial Gardens. Here, these gardens are designed on a steep hillside, with walking paths that lead down through layered terraces to the water. The landscape blends formal garden design with natural bushland, giving it a very cinematic, almost storybook feel. The gardens were created in the 1930s by Alfred Nicholas, a businessman best known for co-founding the pharmaceutical company behind Aspirin. As you can see on screen, everywhere you walk and look, you're surrounded by vibrant greenery and an incredible variety of natural plants. Through the park, you'll find a range of benches and terraced areas where you can sit back and take in the surrounding nature, making it the perfect place to slow down and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere. When you enter the park from the car park, you immediately head downhill, with the main trails to the lake stretching roughly 1 kilometre down through the gardens. It's a fairly steep descent. Now we've reached the lake, which is the centrepiece of the lower gardens. It's framed by terraced stone walls and a series of small bridges that take you across the water, along with a miniature boathouse sitting right on the water's edge. Coming here on a weekday, there was barely anybody around, and all we could hear was the sound of the birds echoing through the tall trees. As mentioned before, there are several other gardens throughout the Dandenong Ranges, including the Dandenong Ranges Botanical Gardens. However, these gardens are generally more crowded and feel more curated, whereas Alfred Nicholas Memorial Garden offers a quieter and more natural atmosphere. Now, the hardest part of the visit is definitely the walk back up. The climb is fairly steep in sections, so you'll need a reasonable level of mobility and fitness. Luckily though, there are a few different trails that lead back to the top. The shortest route is also the steepest back to the top, while the alternative path follows a gentler incline and takes a little longer, making it a bit easier on the way back up. We spent just over an hour exploring the gardens before heading to our next destination, which was located just across the road, being the Sherbrooke Forest. The Sherbrooke Forest is home to some of the tallest trees we've ever seen. There's a whole bunch of trails to take here, with a total area covering 32 square kilometers. The tall, narrow trees you see are called mountain ash trees, which are the tallest flowering plants in the world, with some capable of growing over 100 meters tall. Some of the trees here are believed to be several hundreds of years old. The forest was heavily logged during the late 1800s and early 1900s, before eventually becoming protected parkland. Now fully restored and beaming with life, the forest is packed with an incredible variety of plant species that you'll notice as you walk through. Along the edge of the forest runs part of the world-famous Puffing Billy Railway. Tickets for the train can often sell out weeks or even months in advance, so unfortunately we didn't get the chance to jump on board this time. Depending on the season and timetable, some services only run on selected days of the week. So if you do come to the Dandenong Ranges area, make sure to book in advance the Puffing Billy Railway. The walks we took for the day were along the Sherbrooke Track and Lloyd Track, which eventually leads to Sherbrooke Falls, which is a small, light trickling waterfall hidden in the middle of the forest. And as we walked through the forested areas of the tracks, it's hard to believe we were still less than 1 hour away from Melbourne. And it's amazing how well preserved the park is. Considering it's free, there's no rubbish to be seen anywhere. This is one of the greatest things about parks in Australia. No matter how popular they are, locals always seem to respect the land. It's a big difference from some of the other countries we visited. For example, in Japan, the parks we went to were nice, but many had a lot of rubbish scattered through the areas. As the afternoon rolled in, clouds slowly drifted across the mountain, creating a cool and foggy atmosphere through the forest. The mist began weaving its way through the towering trees and fern gullies, giving the entire track an almost surreal feel. Wildlife throughout the Sherbrooke Forest is abundant, and one animal the area is especially known for is the superb lyrebird. These birds are famous for their incredible ability to mimic sounds from their surroundings. During our walk, we were able to spot 3 lyrebirds. They are extremely shy though, so when you do see one, it's important to be extremely quiet and keep a good distance. Another Australian native animal that's common in the area are wallabies. They can be surprisingly easy to miss at first, especially with how well they blend into the forest surroundings. As with most wildlife animals around the world, wallabies are easier to spot during the early morning and late afternoon hours. And that brings us to the end of an incredible day in the Dandenong Ranges. The combination of small mountain towns, towering forests and beautifully maintained gardens made for a day that really stands out. From misty walking tracks to lush green scenery at every turn, It's a kind of place that reminds you just how diverse and peaceful the landscapes around Melbourne can be. To continue watching our travel experiences around the world, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.